Don't mind this classy ass fit. Today I'm talking about getting what you want. And I think the fundamental question that mediocre people never ask themselves, which is most people, because it's mediocre, it's the medium, it's the average. And so most people never ask themselves, what do I actually want in life or from life? Because when I actually thought to myself what I wanted, I had to stop thinking about what other people are naturally going to push me towards. So for instance, all my life I had been playing lacrosse because I started playing it, I was good at it, and I had fun for quite a while. And then once I got into high school, it started to become something that just didn't interest me. And then I gained an interest for business. I want to own a company. I want to own a business. I want to be wealthy. And I want to be smart. All of these things. I also want to be jacked. But I actually want them. And I thought to myself, oh shit, it's not far out to get these things. I can actually get them. So why don't I stop doing what everyone else is doing? Because I've seen what everyone else gets, and it's not what I want. And most people my age, high school, college, they drink, and I'll be around them because they're cool people. And I was in high school. I just got out of high school. And I would go to the parties. All my friends would be there, and dude, it was just, I knew every time I was going into these situations, people would be like, you don't drink? And I'm like, no. And they're like, why? You just don't? And I'm like, nope. And I hate having to explain that to people, but it's so crazy how much people question it and don't even understand it. But it comes to a point where once you see a little bit of progression in the journey, for instance, what it was for me was me and my buddies started going door to door doing window cleaning, and we made money on our own, no employer, straight hard cash, $300 for 2 hours of work. And once I saw that, I realized that I'd be able to do it at some point. I knew it would take a lot of work, but I knew I could get there. And I feel like once you see that things aren't a fantasy and you can't actually get what you want, you start changing your daily habits. So I want to get jacked. That's one of the things, and a lot of people can relate to that, whether or not they want to be wealthy or not. I don't think many people think getting jacked is completely impossible. And so people try it at least. But when they try it, they see that it's a long time horizon. And it takes a while to actually get in shape. And for getting rich, it's an even longer time horizon. But I feel like a lot of people will get jacked and get in shape and see that journey and see it as proof that they can make it in business. And that's why a lot of business guys are in good shape for the most part. There's those fat people, but still, once you see that little bit of progression, you get addicted to that. You're going to be addicted to something. And so if you make your addiction something positive, such as getting rich, I think that's one of the healthier obsessions you can have. But it can consume you, and there is the idea that your money can change you. But I think that if you get it the right way, you have to go through so much shit to get that money that you become a better version of yourself. That's how I see it. I don't see myself degrading with going through the stuff I know I'm gonna go through to get money. I feel like people who get money, you have to have a certain respect for, because they've gone through some shit, they've put in some work, they've taken risks. You just have to be the type of person to have certain things. It just requires being a certain person. That's all it is. But so many people when they're young They're just caught up in what everyone else is doing. Whether it's what they're wearing, the things that they talk about, the games that they play. I just remember when I was a kid, I did so many things that me didn't want to do just because everyone else was doing them. And now, the older I get, the more I go away from that completely and just do what I want to do. So back to what I was saying about lacrosse. I was going to play lacrosse in college. I went to all the recruiting camps. My parents invested a bunch of money into my athletic success. And I got to a point where I knew this was going to be a huge decision and a huge commitment that wasn't what I wanted to do. And I had to have the hard conversation, which, by the way, is enough for most people to just go with what they're told. That I had to have that hard conversation with my dad, which took a lot of courage to be like, hey, I don't want to play lacrosse anymore. And he didn't understand why, but I was like, I just don't. And I knew I wanted to be just a business owner. I wanted to be wealthy, and I knew that taking 4 years out of my life would put me in the same spot as everyone else. So I'm trying to get ahead right now. And the reason I made this video was just because I see so many people around me going for the low-hanging fruit solely because they haven't actually asked themselves what the ideal life would look like, because it's gonna come. Your life's gonna happen. You're not gonna be in college partying forever. So once that's over, what does it look like? And it's scary, but it's real. Reality always stings a little bit if you haven't sat with it for a little bit. And so many kids my age, they're just going through the motions, and then they're going to pretend that they are happy later on, and they're going to post on Facebook with their kids and be like, this Saturday we went to the baseball game at the local stadium, which, by the way, I like baseball. But you get the point. Why don't people go after what they really want? You have that ability when you're a kid to dream something, and then once you get older, it fades away because you just become so, I don't want to use the word programmed because it's overused, but you become programmed by your environment. And a side note, the easiest way to change your life is to change your environment. Because the city you live in, the school you go to, the people you're around, that's who shapes your beliefs. Because we are heavily inspired or persuaded by the people around us, especially the people our age that are similar to us. So if you change those things, the people around you, the place you live, how you spend your time, that's all your environment. If you change that, you literally become a different person. It's just the way it is, man. But everyone in college is just, they're not thinking. They're not asking the right questions. What if I could actually do what I really wanted? Maybe you want to be a painter. Maybe you want to be a plumber, which is cool. That's not that hard to do. They need plumbers nowadays, it's what every adult says. But what if, whatever you want to do, social media has made it such that you can teach people how to do backflips for a living. We need more entrepreneurship in the world. So this was just ask the right questions. What do I want? If you knew you couldn't fail, what would you do?